And then I did some psychedelics, and all the emotions came gushing out.
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm not ready to get back to work. I'm not ready for anything. I need to heal. I can't ignore these feelings anymore. And that's when I decided to take a break. Bought a one-way ticket to Southeast Asia and started my journey there. First, I'm gonna plant a seed where we're gonna work towards
Yes.
becoming an inner architect. Because when I first started my journey, I considered myself like an outer architect, building my external world. Because just from a young age, I grew up in the restaurant industry. Several aunts had restaurants, and I worked in all positions and build that foundation of like entrepreneurship. So once I graduated from high school, decided to take just a short 6-month course at Westervelt's hospitality management. And then right after I completed that, I actually built my business plan in school with
Hmm.
that intention.
Awesome.
Um, and that was only to secure a loan, like a family
Right.
loan. My mom, she's like, I'm not going to just give you money to open a restaurant. You
Right.
have to prove that this is what you really want to do. So I had some of my own money saved up. I went through schooling and I received that family loan. Opened my first restaurant in London, downtown London. It's called Typhoon, little play on words, typhoon.
Hmm.
It's still running. I sold it to my aunt and uncle after 9 years, and they've actually expanded it to two locations now. So we've got it a location downtown and one in Masonville Mall, which is also like a bar vibe, much bigger. So we got two locations now. Yeah.
Amazing. That's awesome. And then where did the nightclub fit into all of this?
Nightclub. Um, so this is around 23 years of age. So I opened the restaurant when I was 19. Opened the nightclub when I was 23.
Wow.
I just came out. I came out to my friends, my family. I started going to some of the LGBTQ events and clubs, and they're fun, a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of dives.
Right.
And I just wanted to make a beautiful space home, not only for myself but for the LGBTQ community.
Yep.
Um, so that seed was planted after, yeah, I started going out and decided there was definitely a need. Um, so I purchased. I had a building purchased already for my own residence. It was a three-level building in downtown London. I renovated the second and the third floor for resident, and then I was going to lease out the main floor, but that's when I decided to put the club in there rather than going elsewhere. I had a
Right.
space. Um, so yeah, I got the entire um, space on the main floor and used the money and the profits from the restaurant to start building the nightclub and began that journey. So I ran them simultaneously. My brother actually purchased in the restaurant, and then he managed it while I was doing the nightclub.
That's so wild. You like really started your entrepreneurial journey at such a young age. It's crazy. Like you just knew like this is the life for me, entrepreneurship. I want to own things and do things in my own way. Was that always like something that you knew?
It was my aunt who I worked for really encouraged me as well because she knew I had this like innate drive and ability to create, to make my ideas and visualizations come true. Everything from like just recipes to cocktails to decor. My aunts always asked for my input,
Awesome.
and that was my feedback, my own feedback. Where like, you know what, maybe I do have something, and I'd love to develop and build something on my own.
Right.
Um, so it was a big learning experience, but I feel like that's the best way.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
firsthand, because the schooling was great. It gave me the basics, the fundamentals, but going through the process, that was my best teacher. Yeah.
Of course, it always is, right? I
Hmm.
love that. So then what happened? You totally pivoted and
Hmm.
left the nightclub space and the restaurant space. What did your journey where did it take you next?
Hmm. Um, Journey took me next to gutting out the second floor of my building, kicking my brother out because that's where he lived. And I opened a gym. So I'll tell you how that came to be. Interesting story. So after my partner and I broke up, um, I think I was around 26 years old. Yeah, 25, 26 year old. I spiraled down into some depression, a lot of health issues, was not taking care of my health. Um, so just frequent bouts of infections, sinus infections, pneumonia, bronchitis, a lot of acne. I was on medication for acne, Accutane,
Mhm.
antibiotics, a bunch of creams. And then after he and I broke up, went down into a bit of a depression. So it took 8 months for me to really just climb back out into a good, stable place. And
Right.
I owe that to my personal trainer. I got a personal trainer at Good Life, and we just worked. Yeah, we worked on the physical body, and it built my confidence up because at that time I wasn't overweight, but I could tell like I was really inflamed and unhealthy. So I was
Right.
able to make some big nutritional changes with his help. Lose a good chunk of weight, and I became pretty fit. And then I started
Mhm.
getting a lot of attention in my own club from
I bet.
other men. So I use that to my advantage, and I decided to become or I hired a manager and I became the life of the party. So then I started hosting the parties. And this was like the high point of Lavish. Lavish was a nightclub.
Okay.
So I did theme parties. I hired performers and drag queens from Toronto, and then I dressed the part as well. We did beach parties and jungle parties,
My god, how did I
and
miss out on all of
oh, it was
this?
a lot of fun.
Seriously.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And then we opened a rooftop patio on top of the nightclub as well. So for yeah, that summer we were pretty busy. So that led me down a path of just more partying, more drinking, um, and really I didn't know at that time, but to kind of mask the feelings, the unresolved wounds I had from the breakup.
For sure.
Um, with looking good, it helped. It distracted me from those feelings, and then partying and drinking and socializing, it really did um, help me get to a better place. But then that better place led me down a path of um, excessive consumption of alcohol stacked with various drugs. And then I found myself just getting tired of the scene in London. So I started to come to Toronto to party, and did that for a few months, and then ended up at an after hours nightclub, morning club.
Yeah.
Came out, I don't know, 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. It was dead winter, freezing cold. It was either lost or stolen, but my phone, no, I had my phone. My phone was dead. My keys were lost or stolen. My coat was in my car, and I was outside by myself in the middle of winter. My party friends just disappeared.
Mhm.
um, and I was able to get someone to call CAA for me, got into my car, um, and then that drive home, it just really sank. I'm like, I'm at my lowest point, and something's got to shift, got to change. So that's when I decided I planted the seed that I needed to really focus on my inner world and not mask it with physical appearance and a strong social life,
Right.
alcohol, fun. Not that there's anything wrong with fun, but when it's really distracting from a root wound,
For sure.
I started to recognize that and just became more aware that I was running away from something. In those moments, I didn't really know. I was just in it. I was just
Yes,
in the process. But
for sure.
looking back, it was an escape.
That's really powerful though that you were able to have that awareness, and like really pull yourself out of it. Like
Mhm,
you did that. That's really powerful. So you
mhm.
need to really acknowledge yourself for that. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, okay, so you're at this turning point of like something has to shift here. I know that you started getting into Beachbody, and I don't know if this is exactly when this shift happened. So if you want to kind
Mhm.
of take me through there, um, what led you to that?
Yeah.
I remember many years ago having a conversation with you and seeing you posting all this Beachbody stuff and transformation and building this business. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I feel like you just came out of nowhere with this. Um, but yeah, let's dive into that and like
hmm
where that started to kind of show up for you.
hmm That came after the gym. So I had a small gym. It was an intimate gym, small group training, personal training, but then I wanted just a bigger reach. And also their system with their cups, and it just really worked for me when I was introduced to it.
Right.
And I was drinking the Beachbody shakes like daily for like a year. So then I started to promote it in my gym and live that lifestyle. But actually I stopped because my acne came back. Because I
Interesting.
yeah, so I was able to rid of it for quite some good chunk of time through healthy living, just eating whole foods. Um, I don't think it's the specifically just Beachbody, but any powders for me. Like I've tried all across the board, protein powders, whether it's vegan, dairy, fermented,
Right.
Beachbody, any shakes. I just don't do well with shakes. And it was very challenging and difficult because I felt like I built this up. I had a team. Uh, I was living the lifestyle of like a Beachbody coach,
Totally.
fully,
I
fully.
saw it. You were fully rocking it.
Fully embodied. And it was a difficult, but I this is when I started to actually become just very intuitive with my own body. Started, you know, ignoring what the outside world was telling me, including my Beachbody coach, and say, "Oh no, it's not that." But like, no, I know this. Like I was
Right.
able to get rid of it, and now it came back, and the only thing new I introduced is this Beachbody shake.
Yep.
So I don't blame it on that shake because other people, they're thriving on it, but
For
it was
sure.
not for me. So I have a lot of integrity with what I do. If I'm not drinking it, I'm not going to sell it. So I decided to let that go, and that happened to be around the same time as my brother's passing as well. He passed suddenly at the age of 27, and after a week of holding space and being the rock for my family, my mom, my sister, because they really needed it. It was my turn to heal. I actually thought I
Right.
was gonna go back into the, like, my gym and just start training the next day. The funeral's on Sunday. I'm like, "Monday, I'm ready to go. Like, I got this. I always have it."
Wow.
Yeah, and then I did, some psychedelics.
Okay, so you did them like on
Yeah,
that weekend?
on that weekend after the funeral was over, I went to the river, Thames River, in Harris Park in London,
Mhm.
did some psychedelics, and all the emotions came gushing out. And
Mm.
I'm like, I'm not ready to get back to work. I'm not ready for anything. I need to heal. I can't ignore these feelings anymore. Um, and that's when I decided to, yeah, to take a break. Bought a one-way ticket to Southeast Asia, and started my journey there.
Amazing. And
Mhm,
so, thanks so much for sharing about your brother. And, I'm definitely, I'm certain that, so many emotions and the hardship and everything your family had to go through. And
mhm,
it's great that you were in a place to be able to hold space for them. And that you were also able to recognize not to just jump right back into the work and,
mhm.
do the actual inner work and really heal